It was deep at night. In a quiet house in Bhubaneswar, a girl woke up, but she didn't wake up. Her body was awake. Her eyes were open, but the person inside was no longer her. The sound of feet rubbing on the floor. Slowly, a voice came from the darkness. Cold. Unknown. I have come. I will not return. This girl's name was Renu. A few months ago, she had gotten married in a world full of love and dreams. But her mother-in-law knew a truth that Renu did not want to believe. The smell of wedding henna is not just a symbol of love. To some disembodied spirit, it is an invitation. And when that invitation was accepted, there was no turning back. Ronnie and Renu's marriage was arranged according to the old customs. The family had arranged it after careful consideration, but fate seemed to weave love into that relationship. Their house was right next to the famous Lingaraj temple in Bhubaneswar. As soon as you enter through the narrow lanes of the old neighborhood, you will find a modern courtyard, where tradition and the touch of time were mixed together on the walls. When Renu first set foot in this house, she had a hidden fear in her mind. A new family, new people, new rules. But that fear quickly disappeared. Her father-in-law himself held her hand and said, "You are the daughter of our house, not a mother-in-law." Her mother-in-law Bimala Devi also pulled her close and said, "Even if she had her own daughter, she would have walked around the house like this." Renu smiled softly and said, "It feels like I have returned to my father's house again." There were no rules for her in this house. No one would say anything about whether the hem of the sari was right or how to sit in front of whom. She lived her life her own way. So much so that one day Ronnie himself felt a little proud and said, "It seems like my respect has decreased in the house." Mother jokingly asked why. Ronnie said, "No one cares if she asks for something, but as soon as Renu mentions a gold chain, it arrives the next day." Father Rudranath Babu smiled and said, "Buy your own things with your own money, but girls have to take a little extra care. And Renu is not our daughter-in-law, she is our beloved daughter." Renu then held Ronnie's hand and said, "You are my biggest gift. I don't want anything else." Even amidst this laughter and joy, a strange mystery would sometimes appear in her mother-in-law's words. It was only a few days after the wedding, and the color of the henna on her hands had not completely faded. One night, Bimala Devi suddenly warned Renu. She said, "As long as there are henna stains on her hands, she will not go to the Kalpur intersection." Renu was surprised and asked why. Bimala Devi's voice then dropped into a serious tone. She said that the smell of wedding henna attracts demons. They come to people without even wanting to. Renu laughed and said that she did not believe in such things. But she wondered how such words could come from the mouth of a person with such modern thinking. Ronnie then assured her from the side that there was nothing to fear, that he was always by Renu's side. That night, Ronnie, Renu, Bimala Devi, Rudranath Babu, and the only Deor Raghav all sat together at the dinner table. Amidst laughter and jokes, Renu suddenly asked her mother-in-law, "You love me so much. Then why are there so many rules when it comes to going out?" She mentioned a friend of hers, and even though that friend's mother-in-law is strict about clothes or cooking, she never stops her from going out. But why does she get stopped when she wants to watch a movie or go to a party here at night? Bimala Devi laughed and replied, "You are still new. You haven't even got henna on your hands, so you have to be a little careful this time." He clearly said that he had no objection to wandering around, but the smell that a newly married person has on his body attracts evil spirits. Renu asked again in surprise, "Do you really believe this?" Bimala Devi's voice became firmer this time. She said, "Believe it or not, there will be no jokes here. Let no one even think of going to the canal to test." Renu said nothing more and concentrated on eating quietly. Ronnie smiled to lighten the mood, saying, "Okay, there's no need to walk. You can just go in the car." Then he added jokingly, "Will they even get inside the car?" The whole house burst into laughter. Only Bimala Devi's face remained serious. No one understood then how dangerous it could be to joke about such things. A few weeks later, one evening, the news came that would become the happiest moment of their lives. Renu was going to be a mother. Ronnie cried out in joy. Renu smiled shyly and said that this was the greatest achievement of their lives. But even in that joy, Bimala Devi became serious. "Girl, from now on you have to obey 3 conditions," she said. "No high heels, only flat sandals. No outside food, only what I cook. And the most difficult condition, no roaming outside at all." Renu begged, "Give me some time for the last condition, Mom. After that, I will have to rest for a long time." Bimala agreed, but warned that she would not be allowed to go anywhere from the day after tomorrow. That night, Ronnie and Renu went out for dinner to celebrate their happiness. After eating at the restaurant, the manager himself came forward and served them hot jalopy. Renu happily ate the jalopy, but did not drink water, so that the taste of sweetness would remain in her mouth. This little carelessness would later lead to the biggest danger for a pregnant girl, but no one understood it at the time. On the way home, Renu suddenly decided to take the road along the canal. Her mother had strictly forbidden her to take that route, but Ronnie, who did not believe in superstitions, thought that if she did not tell her mother, she would get hurt. And so she turned the bike towards the forbidden path. The darkness of the night was even darker. Fog had gathered on the canal bank. The moonlight was breaking through the fog, creating an uncomfortable scene. Renu and Ronnie were smiling at that time. Neither of them noticed that a frozen gray shadow was silently following the scooter on the back road. When Bimala reached home, she saw Renu standing there, but her smile was somehow unfamiliar, unusual. "Eat the jalapita first," Renu said in a strange voice. Bimala, unable to understand anything, tells her to go home, but a nagging feeling remains in her heart. That night, Bimala cannot sleep. She hears the sound of muffled laughter in the corridor, a knock on the door, and looking at the open door, she cannot understand what the strange noises coming from Renu's room are. In the morning, when Renu does not respond even after hearing the call, Ronnie and Bimala push the door and enter. The air in the room is like a cold fog. The curtains are shaking even though the windows are closed. Renu is lying on the bed. A dark, yellow-red sticky liquid is dripping from the corners of her lips, and a half-eaten jalopy is tightly clutched in her hand. Renu suddenly opens her eyes and looks up. 2 bloodshot eyes. "Mother, have you eaten jalopy?" She laughs with an inhuman smile. From that day on, everything changes. A horrible demonic face appears in place of Renu's face, eyes as red as blood and black teeth. She herself admitted, "I will take Renu. I like her very much. I have a friend named Trisha who looks exactly like Renu. She makes strange demands to bring meat and sweets from the kitchen, although non-vegetarian food is never cooked in this house. Renu cooks herself and stands in front of everyone with a smiling face, although no one saw her enter the kitchen. She whispers in her mother-in-law's ear, 'You have a lot to tell me. The girl who is your grandmother is still sleeping.' Bimala then dragged Renu into the room where the picture of Ma Mangala was hanging on the wall. That day was Tuesday, the day of the goddess's Tithi, a day when evil forces cannot easily affect true devotees. The being inside Renu did not know this calculation. As soon as she saw the picture, she suddenly moved away and looked at it sternly, then whispered a challenge. "If you have the courage, cover the picture." This was not just a conflict between mother-in-law and grandmother-in-law, but a fight between a devotee and an invisible evil force. After a while, Renu rushed out on her scooter, saying that she was going to have a chat. She turned around and gave her mother-in-law a crooked smile. Bimala firmly informed her that she could not go alone. Ronnie would have to go with her. Just then, Renu suddenly dug her nails into her stomach and started scratching it terribly. Bimala ran over and grabbed her hand. "Just take a look," Renu whispered, smiling. Bimala's suspicion was confirmed then, that some supernatural force had entered Renu's body and it wanted to take her away. Ronnie was shocked when he took Renu's hand. It was as cold as ice. But the next moment, when he took it again, he saw that the hand was like a burning coal. How a human hand could be ice and fire at the same time, Ronnie couldn't figure out. Bimala then decided that Renu should be taken to her village house, where perhaps this evil force would stop under the influence of Mother Mangala. Ronnie initially dismissed it as superstition, but that night, as his mother had said, he tested it and found that the sweets kept under the bed were disappearing on their own. Renu was reaching out and eating them in her sleep. The next morning, Renu was seen hanging from the railing of the roof, and if she fell down, it would be a disaster. Then one day, Ronnie went out with Renu again, and on the way, Renu suddenly lost consciousness. They were taken to the hospital, and the doctor examined them and said they would have to be kept under observation for 2 days. When Ronnie went to fill out the form at the reception, Renu stood next to him, completely healthy and normal. But a while ago, she had been lying unconscious on the hospital bed. The doctor himself came and talked to Renu as if nothing had happened. Ronnie realized that this energy is not static in one place. The body is changing and playing, and this game is his favorite. On the way back from the hospital, they got into an auto. The auto driver suddenly slammed on the brakes and said, "Sir, we cannot take 3 passengers." But only Ronnie and Renu were sitting in the auto. Ronnie looked outside and saw that there was indeed a shadow sitting next to Renu, with 2 legs clearly visible below. When he returned home, Ronnie told his mother everything and decided that they should be sent to the village today. Early in the morning, Ronnie himself drove Renu and her mother to the village. There was no danger on the road because Renu herself did not know where they were actually going. In the morning, they reached the old house in the village, surrounded by greenery, a peaceful environment far from the hustle and bustle of the city. Ronnie's grandmother stood at the door, her eyes piercing through everything, although she was old. When she saw the 3 of them, she realized that something else had entered the house with Renu. Immediately, Grandma spread rice on the ground and drew a mysterious pattern, then said in a stern voice, "The 3 of you come over it." Ronnie stepped on it, then Bimala. But as soon as Renu stepped on it, the white rice turned black in an instant. Grandma immediately picked up the rice and put it in a bowl. Renu suddenly turned around and said in a hoarse voice, "Grandma, if you wanted to know something, you could have asked directly. There was no need to be so deceitful." Grandma called Bimala and asked how long this had been going on. Then she told her that once in this village, Ma Mangala was worshipped, but the priest who used to conduct this ceremony had died. So now there was no such protection here. Hearing this, Renu laughed and said, "You didn't bring me. I came of my own free will. Now I won't go." With that, she suddenly disappeared from sight. The terrified grandma immediately decided that she would have to leave the house and move to a neighboring village to build a new house because it was not safe to live here. But due to Ronnie's parents' objections, they couldn't go that night. It was 1 in the morning. Grandma was awakened by the sound of feet rubbing on the floor. She woke up and saw Renu rubbing her feet strangely on the floor. Seeing Grandma, she wanted to run away, but stopped and slowly turned her head to look. The coldness of that gaze was enough to make her chest tremble. She said in a hoarse voice, "Wait until morning, then you will see my real game." Grandma replied firmly, "Tell me why you don't want to leave my granddaughter." Renu said she would take Renu with her because Renu looked exactly like one of her friends, Trisha. Grandma challenged her, saying, "Take her and show her." The fight continued all night, and finally Grandma said, "We'll talk in the morning." In the morning, Grandma brought breakfast to Renu, patted her head affectionately. Renu was calm, normal, as if nothing had happened at night. But almost everyone in the house had already caught a glimpse of her, some in the kitchen, some by the mirror, some in the corridor. An unknown panic spread throughout the village. In the afternoon, Grandma made Renu sit for a mantra. Renu's body was covered in fever, and even the doctor came and said that he had no cure for this fever. When Grandma arranged prayer flowers, they were repeatedly destroyed by invisible hands. Finally, the grandmother said, if there was no harm to her daughter-in-law, she would not stop her anymore. At that moment, a shadow like black smoke emerged from Renu's body and disappeared outside the door. In the evening, when everyone was sitting in the courtyard and drinking tea, Renu wanted to go up to the roof with a smile, saying that she had never seen such a beautiful open village before. The grandmother agreed, thinking that perhaps everything was settled. But behind Renu's simplicity was a terrible plan. As soon as they reached the roof, Renu's tone suddenly changed. "I told you that I would not do anything to Renu, so I let her go. But I'm taking the baby in her belly." Before she could finish speaking, Renu picked up a huge brick and started hitting herself. Everyone screamed in panic. Ronnie ran over and saw that Renu was lying unconscious. The floor of the roof was covered in blood. Without delay, Ronnie picked Renu up in his arms, took the car, and went straight to the city hospital. The doctor examined her and said that Renu was alive, but due to the severe injury, she no longer had a baby in her womb. The ground beneath Ronnie's feet gives way, and she starts crying and blaming herself, sometimes even God. The greatest happiness she felt a few days ago is now covered in the darkness of a tragic outcome. Today, Ronnie and Renu are both parents of children, a boy and a girl, living healthy, normal lives. But this incident reminds us, a careless moment, an ignored warning, how one can unknowingly summon evil forces. If Renu had not been pregnant that day, her life might not have been saved. Not every story always ends happily. Today, they are at peace, becoming ardent devotees of Mother Mangala. But if they had avoided that path by the canal that day and gone directly to Mangala's abode, perhaps this terrible chapter would never have been written.